Hello, everybody. I am back, and it's really, really great to be here and to see you. I wanted to tell you a story today about one photo of me. And it's a really interesting story because it tells you so much. This was a photo that was taken of me on a day where I was at this event, and it was a great day. I was surrounded by all these great women, but I felt really, really ugly. You know those days where you get up and you just feel really ugly? Well, that's what I felt that day. And it's Hong Kong summer, and Hong Kong summers are really humid, like 99% humidity. So my hair was frizzy, and I was surrounded by all these really young, gorgeous, sassy women. So I felt old and frumpy. And then 6 months later, I saw this photograph of me. And I was really shocked because I thought I looked quite beautiful that day. And it was totally opposite to what I was feeling inside of me. But you know what? Photos don't lie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, get a photo of you when you were young, like decades ago, and I bet you $1 million you felt fat or you were insecure. And if you look at that photo now, you'll think, oh my God, I was really gorgeous. I was actually out with a friend last night, and we were both talking about this. And she said, I was convinced I was fat. And I look at myself and I looked amazing. And it was the best years of my life. You know, and we all waste those years. How many years do you waste? Crippled with guilt, crippled with insecurity and doubt, and thinking you're fat and ugly and all this sort of crap. Do that test and you'll see what I mean. But you know what? Photos can also reveal the opposite. You can look great, but actually when you look deeper at the photo, you realize what's going on underneath. And when I look at a photo of myself on my wedding day, my first marriage, I call that my starter marriage, because I got it completely wrong the first time and I got it perfect the second time. But when I look back at a photo of that day, the first one, I actually thought I looked really beautiful on that day. But when I look at photos of that now, I just see fear. I knew that I shouldn't be walking down the aisle that day. I was 3.5 months pregnant, and he was a very violent guy. And I felt trapped. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't want to cancel the wedding. I was full of fear. And I see it in that photo. I look at that photo and I see the vulnerability in my eyes, and I see that fear. And it makes me want to cry, because I just want to take her hand and just go, run. You don't have to walk down that aisle. And to also say to her, it's okay. Your life is going to end up amazing. You're all right. But this is not the reason I'm doing this video. What made me think about that photo that I was surprised by is that I recently spoke to a woman who said to me, when I look back on pictures of myself, I don't see the light anymore. Do any of you feel like that? And so many of you say to me that you've lost your spark, your passion, your purpose, your joy, and you don't even recognize the person that you've become anymore, that you've just gone so far from who you once were that you're just lost. You don't even recognize yourself when you look in the mirror. And time has passed. That's worse. Time has passed. And that scares you as well. Way too much time. Quite often, the world sees you differently to what you put out to the outside world. You know, I see this so much. And I was like this. You know, you're a high achieving, successful woman. You've got beautiful kids. You always make sure you put that happy face on every day, and you look after everyone's needs, keep the peace, make sure everyone's great. But you're living in denial because you've stopped noticing that the outside world and what's going on deep inside you are no longer aligned, because you're hiding. You're keeping up the pretense that everything is okay, and you're so good at it that you even believe it, because you're holding it all together, and you just keep going day after day after day, just because there's no joy anymore. Does this sound true for any of you? And if you keep going down this road, what happens to you is you start to isolate yourself more, as you don't want others to see the truth. You sort of do know deep down inside, even though you're in denial, and you just don't want anyone to, you don't want to break that, you don't want to shatter that armor that you've put round on you to hide, because that's what's just keeping you surviving, and you're protecting yourself, and you're frightened. And it's awful, because I see so many of you like this. I talk to women every day, and they say, I'm no longer excited. I can barely put my feet out of bed every day because I've got no purpose. I'm so unexcited by life. And worse, many of you have said to me, what's the point? What's the point? And you find it hard as a result to connect to your children and be present for them as you know you should, because you just are so overwhelmed. And you fear the impact that your state of just surviving, not thriving, is going to have on them as well. And, you know, the further you stray from who you really are, the harder it is to realign yourself, because you lose you go further into denial, you start to isolate more, you start to hide away, because you feel like the more you reveal yourself, the more vulnerability you're going to expose, and that terrifies you, so you don't feel safe. Is this ringing true for anybody? And you really get to that point where you don't know who you are anymore. And I have so many of you who say that to me. So I want to ask you, let me just look at comments. Hello, Lopez girl. Tiffany says, yes, this is resonating with you. Hello, welcome, Tiffany. Hello, Lopez girl. Good to have you here. So what I want to invite you to do is to look at some photos of yourself. And I'm talking about ones of late. And I want to ask you, what is it that you see? Because photos just don't lie. You know, they either you'll convince yourself that you're ugly and unattractive and looking awful, and a photo will reveal that actually you look amazing, and that's just your inside insecurity. Or you'll feel great, beautiful. You'll feel like you've got it together. You'll feel like you're capable, strong, successful, which you are. But then you'll see a photo of you, and like that woman who said to me, you'll think, I don't see the light anymore. I'm not that person that I was when I was young. Where did she go? What's happened to her? And chances are you may even be in denial and think that you're still that way. I'm strong. I've got this. I can hold it together. But what you're holding together is a life that's falling apart, and you're trying desperately to control everything that's, you know, around you that is actually spinning out of control. And year by year, it's getting harder to keep that together. So what you do is you start to put that arm around even tighter, and you retreat and hide even more and isolate yourself, and you stop dating, and you struggle to go to work because you fear what other people will think. Does this make sense to you? You know, and one person says, I see joy and beauty where I used to see nitpicks. Well, that's brilliant. That's fantastic, Tiffany. Another one says, my mother found me ugly, but my photos are pretty, and people told me I was. Well, that's great. So look at photos of yourself and see, have you lost that light and passion and joy? Do you see that light has gone from your eyes? And I want to also ask you this: how different is what you present to the outside world, that strong, successful, high achieving woman, for example, and what is really going on inside? Because, you know, I was like that, very successful, hugely successful television producer. And I was, you know, people always said to me, you're so strong and confident. And actually for many, many years inside, I was always worried about what other people thought. I people pleased. I was low in self-esteem and insecure, and I didn't show up enough for myself. So I want you to tell me if you have that gap, big gap between how others see you and what is going on deep inside. And if that gap is getting further and further and you're starting to hide that truth and almost live a lie or live in denial, and actually, you know, deep down you feel a lot of guilt, fear, or shame. So, you know, photos just don't lie. And tell me if you've lost your passion and purpose and your spark and joy, and you fear that time is running out, and will I ever get that back? And will I ever be loved? And will I ever have joy in my life? That, as I said, they don't lie. But what happens is, too often we're actually just too scared to face the truth, because it is quite scary looking deep and realizing that on the outside you look like this really successful, strong, confident adult, but on the inside you've got this frightened little girl inside. So I hope that's sparked your curiosity to go and grab some photos of you. And I'd like you to let me know in the comments below, what is it that you see when you see yourself, and how, if you feel like you've lost yourself, unaligned with the person that you really remember one day you were before, but you no longer are, and whether there is a massive gap between what you present to the outside world and what you feel inside. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.